Hello, hello. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today, and our language school goes live again. And hopefully, that you all can hear me and everything works well, I guess. So, just checking. Yeah, seems everything is okay. So, we are really happy to be updating you guys on the most useful and practical tips on language, on vocabulary and grammar. And it is my great pleasure. I'm Kate. I love socializing with native speakers, and I absolutely adore immersing into the culture, as well as picking up some great and cool expressions to share with my students. So today, we are going to talk about 8 essential phrases that you might hear well, not like all the time, but pretty much oftentimes when you communicate with native speakers. And a little disclaimer, if your language usage is strictly limited to formal situations, then this live streaming is not for you guys. Because today we are going to be covering the, so to say, non-formal situations, the everyday talk, and the phrases that will make your interaction with native speakers more fun, enjoyable, and hopefully you will come across as a very confident person. Also, I would like for you to get your fingers ready, because at some point I will ask you to be engaged into my live streaming and give me a little bit of feedback or some answers to some of the questions that I will be asking you. So let's make it as interactive and engaging as possible. Well, let's roll. And the first expression that I want to talk about sounds like, how's it going? I'm sure you might have heard that before, and pretty many times. How's it going? I'm going to give you 2 variants, 2 options of what this phrase might mean, which is, how are you doing? How are you? And does this bus go to, let's say, Swanston Street? So if you could comment a little bit and type in the variant that you think fits best into the explanation of this phrase. How's it going? So what does that actually mean? A or B? Which variant suits best? Well, I'm guessing this is an easy one, and this is an easy start for you guys to feel more or less relaxed. And how are you doing is the correct version of it. And that's just another way, let's say, a very common and casual greeting of saying hello to someone. So this might be something like, hey, how have you been? Or how's it going? I haven't seen you for a while. Sometimes, though, you might hear, how's it going? Instead of hello. And in this situation, you might be just saying, nothing much. What about you? Now let's move on to the second one. And our second phrase sounds like, you made it. You made it. And this might sound a little bit confusing and misleading. This is why I've decided to confuse you even more by providing 3 possible variants. So the first one is, you did a great job, you finally arrived, or you finished it. So if you guys could provide a little bit of feedback and write A, B, or C, what do you think is the definition for this expression? You made it. And the correct option is, you finally arrived. Yes. Let's assume that you are at a party and you were not expecting to see your friend there. But then finally, the minute your friend walks into the room, you might be saying, you made it. I thought you were going to be out of town, or you made it. I didn't think you would show up. And then your friend might be just answering that, well, plans have changed and I decided to surprise you. Yeah, so you made it. Now let's have a look at this expression from a different angle a little bit. Like, how can you use it? How can you apply it to yourself, especially if you want to make a negative sentence that say that I'm not, like, you're not sure whether you can come to some kind of event, then you would be saying, well, I'm sorry, I got some plans over the weekend and I can't make it. Also, there could be another one. Let's imagine you got a bus at 5 p.m. and now you're running late and it's 4:50. So you might be saying, oh, we're late. I don't know if we can make it, right? Also, that's what's more is that I'm often very happy to hear my students use this phrase whenever they can't come to the class. They would be saying, sorry, Kate, I can't make it, got a meeting, or something similar. It's not that I'm excited about them not coming, but it's definitely great to know that they're using the phrases we're covering. So if you can't make it, just sound it out. And we're moving on to our third phrase, which is going to be, I know, right? It might seem a bit confusing now again, so let me just provide you with two options. I totally agree with you, and I know it myself. Don't argue with me. So you might either be commenting on this one or just think about it in your head, what this phrase actually means. I know, right? And the correct option is the first one. Yeah. So this phrase means I totally agree with you and you totally agree with me. At the same time, there is a subtle connotation of, but tell me more at the end in the right part. So this phrase specifies that there is a bit of empathy in the agreement between the two speakers. So both of them might have arrived at the same conclusion, possibly in the same way. And what's more, and what is important to notice, is that this phrase has a very distinct intonation pattern. So the intonation is falling on the word know. So you say, I know. And then it is rising on the word right. So you say, I know, right? It's a very American one. And let me provide you with some examples so that you understand what I'm talking about. Let's say that you're at a cafe with your friend and there is someone walking in with a very crazy haircut or hairstyle, and you will be gossiping to your friend and saying, oh my goodness, I don't believe they had their hair cut like that. And you would say, I know, right? So basically you're creating a bit of a bond between the two of you in terms of understanding and supporting the conversation. So I hope this is clear. And next time you hear some Americans say that, you'll be like, oh, got it. I know what you're talking about. All right, let's move on to the fourth one. And this is going to be, how does that sound? And the two possible options are, how do you pronounce that? Or what do you think? Let me give you a sec to recalibrate that. So the correct meaning is, what do you think? Yeah, again, this is one of these phrases I'm sure you heard pretty many times. How does that sound? That's if you want to, if you want a speaker or, well, if you want another person to agree or disagree or just to give their opinion on your idea or suggestion, you would be asking this question. For example, How about going to Japan for another week or two? How does that sound? Oh, that sounds great. Let's do it. Or another one could be, can you ask Tom to do that? How does that sound? I don't think Tom can do it. He is not very responsible. So you either respond like it sounds great or yeah, not sure. So how does that sound? How do you like the sound of it is another one, is another variation of this. Great. So hopefully you're following this okay. And now coming up to the fifth expression. That's messed up. That's messed up. Yeah, I wonder if you have heard that before. So mess up is a phrasal verb, right? And my colleague Yulia kindly presented a session on phrasal verbs before, so you might consider rewatching that again. But the main idea about phrasal verbs and why so many people are struggling with them is that the substitute the normal verb, so to say, that's first, but second, they are having, like, they have so many meanings that it's nothing but confusing. And it all depends on context, which is the worst, I guess, explanation for a student. Anyway, mess up, yeah, that's one of them that has thousands of meanings. And let me give you the two options that I came up with. The first one would be, that's so scary. And the second one, that's really weird. So the correct one would be, that's really weird. Right. Now, you're using this expression to define a situation which appears to be weird or strange, or at some point even unjust or unfair. Like, you know, the kids would be saying, oh, that's unfair. Let's say you got a son and his classmate would be saying, oh, you gotta be staying over the weekend and watching your sister instead of playing outside. That's messed up. So another one could be into the, we can relate to the, let's say, work environment. I can't believe you have to serve your boss a cup of tea every day. That's messed up. So that's something confusing me, and that's totally strange. Yeah, that's messed up. Good. Moving on to the sixth one. And here I would like to talk a little bit about the difference between the two verbs. Again, these are the phrasal verbs, catch up and meet up. I heard a lot of students saying that they are used interchangeably, like pretty much synonymously, but still there is a little bit of a difference, and I just want to make sure that you understand that. First of all, I would like to provide you with two examples and have a look at them. Try to decide which verb goes best into which context. So the first one we have, how have you been? Would you like to next weekend? Or why don't we tonight for a coffee? So have a few seconds to go through these ones and come up with an idea. All right, so ready? The first, going forward, the first one is catch up, and the second one would be meet up. Now, why? So basically, when you meet up with someone, it is this time when you want to organize the time for, well, let's say you're spending just some time together. You agree on the occasion or on the time to hang out, to find out the latest news. And that's pretty much it. While catching up is meeting someone after not seeing that person for a while. So let's say you haven't seen each other for a while and you are catching up with each other just to find out what has been happening in that person's life. So basically catching up is checking in with that person that you are out of touch a little bit. So catching up does mean that you are meeting up with that person, but meeting up does not necessarily mean catching up, if that makes any sense. Yeah, let me give you a few more examples. So let's say you have this one good friend that you haven't seen for a while, and you might give him or her a call and just ask, how about we catch up over the weekend? I haven't seen you for ages. So that could be that. Or let's say your colleague has just come back from a holiday in Europe, and you say, why don't we catch up for a drink tonight? And you're going to tell me all about your trip. So catch up versus meet up. Both of them, actually meet up could be both in person and online, but catch up would probably be more about the in-person meeting. Anyway, could be also used as nouns like catch-ups and meetups. Great, let's move on to the 7th one. And here we got a phrase that sounds like, let me put it this way. So let me put it this way. Let's see what that means. Let me put my stuff somewhere. Or let me tell you this in a polite manner. Okay, yeah, so have a few seconds to think it over. Let me put it this way. And the correct version is, let me tell you this in a polite manner. Yeah. Yeah, anyway. So when do we use this phrase? When we want to explain something and to make it clear for another person, but something is just not working well, like you're trying to think of the proper words to explain what's on your mind, and then you seem to be lacking words or the right expression to do that. So first of all, you might be asking a question. So how shall I put this in order for you to understand what I mean? And then after taking a pause, you might continue and say, well, let me put it this way. And then you continue your sentence. So basically, pretty often we're using this phrase when we don't want to sound rude, when we want to sound polite, and we're thinking of the right words, how to put that. All right, so let's say, let me put it this way. He is rich, but he's certainly not attractive. Well, just an example. Okay, and the last one we got here. Oh, by the way, well put. So that's a very short and pretty concise phrase that you might use in order to affirm someone else's statement. So, well put, which would be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I like the way you sounded this out. I like your choice of words. So that would be well put. Yeah. And the last one is have a good one. And I am pretty much guessing you know what that is. So nice way to wish somebody to enjoy their coffee, or a cool way of saying goodbye. And definitely it is a cool way of saying goodbye. Yeah, so one in this phrase, one substitutes the word day, like have a good day, but you might be just willing to sound cool and up to date. So you'd say, have a good one, and goodbye. It's like, goodbye, have a good one. And then you would answer pretty much the same, you too, or likewise, and things like that. So this is pretty much it. And how about we recap a little bit and go through these expressions one more time. So how's it going? You made it. I know, right? How does that sound? That's messed up. Now, how about catching up over the weekend? Let me put it this way. And have a good one. So guys, I do really hope that you are going to use these phrases. And actually for now, just to get a little bit of feedback from you, if you could type in a number of the phrase that you liked most of all, like of the phrase that you think you're gonna be using or you're gonna start using right away after this video, that would be really, really great to know. And moreover, I like to really encourage you to use them, because otherwise the whatever time, the 20 minutes you've just spent with me was a waste, because you guys need to apply the knowledge that you are receiving. And we really want you to sound like natives. We really want you to feel confident about your knowledge. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So thank you guys. It was really, really big pleasure to be with you here today. And please remember that we have videos coming out every Thursday at 3 p.m. I hope you will be waiting for the new ones. And we want you to get your level of English to a nicer level, to a much better level. And thank you very much. Stay tuned. I'm Kate, and see you then in a few weeks.